Hi, this is Kara. Welcome to Breaking Free Fridays, or welcome back if you've been following this series. It's really great to have you here. Today I was inspired to talk about how do you know if your inner work is really paying off? And I don't know about you, but there have been times in my journey of empowerment, of healing, of self-development where I have run into places of immense frustration, thinking, oh my gosh, I have done so much work. I've gone so deep, and I felt like I resolved something, and then I realized that there's just more, or I'm revisiting something again that I thought was already resolved, and wondering, is this really working? Like what is happening here? Well, the truth is, and what I've seen with clients and what I've seen in my own journey is that it's just that it is a journey, and it is definitely, a windy, bumpy road. And there's not a destination. It's not like there's an end point. It's this continual progression and adventure, ups and downs, breakthroughs, some, step backs. But even with that, there's still these opportunities where, we're seeing through a different lens. So even when we're revisiting something, it's from a different perspective. So that level of awareness, that level of empowerment can leapfrog into a different place, which is really powerful. One of the things that can often happen when we're starting on our journeys or earlier in our empowerment processes, we often are looking to fix something, or sometimes we can see ourselves as being broken, or not enough, or something like that, where we're literally aiming to just resolve something and then move on, like it just making it go away. but the reality is, we're here to be joyous, to expand. Our soul is meant to progress and to keep learning. And so there are always going to be opportunities for us to up level, which is exciting. And also it gives us an invitation to continue to challenge ourselves to find more empowering meaning in life and in our experiences and in our relationships, and also an invitation to really create different experiences. So one of the things that I wanted to share, and this is a little bit personal, but I think it gives a good example for showcasing kind of that transformation in terms of relating to inner work and really feeling and seeing the results of the efforts put in. So the last couple of weeks for me have been pretty intense. I'm not sure if you noticed, but last week I actually didn't end up posting my Breaking Free Friday episode, which is pretty rare for me. I really take this seriously. I am so grateful for you all, for our community, and just really honor all of you that are also on these journeys of empowerment and really looking to be the best versions of yourself that you can be. That's something that's really close to my heart, and I'm really passionate about that as well in my own life. So in the last couple of weeks, what has been going on, my mom had a major surgery, a shoulder joint replacement, and some subsequent complications from that. And I also experienced some significant triggers in my own healing process and awakening that took me to a really deep place that was pretty profound for me in terms of really getting to some deeper roots and in terms of trauma and resolving that. It also asked a lot more of me in terms of being gentle with myself, giving myself more moments of rest. And this was also at a time where I really wanted to be there for my mom and was definitely making that a priority as well. And on top of that, ended up facing a really an emergent plumbing situation. And we're talking like jackhammers, excavating, like the whole thing in terms of some significant plumbing stuff, backups and things like that were happening. And it's like that old adage, when it rains, it pours. Well, years ago, I would have really spun out from all of this happening, and I would have gotten through it. But, as a person that grew up in an alcoholic family and, the echoes of complex PTSD, it would have been from a place of survival mechanism. It's like that damage control, the grind, the hustle, managing chaos, not from a place of centeredness. Well, because of all of the work that I've done, I find myself in this situation where I definitely have had my moments of, oh my gosh, what is happening here? And feelings that I definitely gave myself the chance to process. But overall, I was quickly able to move from those places to perspective shifts where I was seeing different opportunities, like with the plumbing situation, for example. It's like, oh my goodness, I had so much gratitude for the fact that this was uncovered with a minor backup, the major emergency plumbing thing, as opposed to it getting to the place where it basically destroyed my basement and then dealing with all of that. So what a gift that is, and also seeing, some of you might realize the parallel between, the plumbing and, water energy and that element. And that's very much connected to, to heart. And also think about letting go, right? And in our journeys of inner work and healing and empowerment, a big piece of our breakthroughs comes from us letting go and clearing to allow for new things to come forward. And so what a gift that is in this massive, upheaval, because it's disruptive, in terms of day-to-day life and juggling things. What kind of breakthroughs and possibilities are awaiting, because now the internal plumbing and letting go system in my home is flowing and working properly, and up to better piping, all of that. That's not somewhere I would have necessarily been able to go, and especially not as quickly years ago. And so there's an indicator of, just giving an example of how the inner work is paying off. It's easier to create and see the higher meanings of things, to have a different relationship, a more positive relationship. And even like, for example, in this process, and it's still being worked through, we haven't had hot water for days now. And I could have just stewed and been angry and resentful about that. But instead, I found myself just unbelievably grateful about hot water, because, it's so easy to just be accustomed to just, turning on the faucet knob, having access to that, and not even really thinking about it. And so it gave me great pause to really notice, wow, this is quite an amazing feat to have this like we do in developed countries. And it's is a point of gratitude, right? And so that was something that was important. And then it also was an invitation to really get centered um, in that abundance piece, because this is obviously a really costly thing, and and insurance is involved and all of that, but that's not necessarily a complete slam dunk there. And so giving myself space and opportunity for access to resources to make all of this possible. And so that's another indicator of of that inner work really showing up in how it's paying off in life. All of this stuff with what has been going on with my mom and her health, being so grateful that I have that beautiful relationship with her, and am able to be an advocate for her, and really helping her navigate through that. And also that we have such a beautiful and supportive family that's been coming together to be a support to her. And so there's these different pieces. It's where the focus is that's so different. And that's one of the things that and by sharing this, I wanted to give you a moment of invitation to close your eyes for a minute, put your hands on your heart, and just connect to your own journey. Sometimes it's so easy to focus on all the places that we still have work to do, or that we still want to get to, that we haven't seen the outcome yet that we want. And yet, I want you to take a moment and reflect on your journey, and really notice and feel into the gratitude of the things that represent the progress that you have made, the things that have shown up as breakthroughs, the things that have been just points of beauty and magic and miracle. And these don't have to be huge. These can be small things. A beautiful smile from a stranger, maybe when you were feeling down, or realizing that you now are taking regular time to care for yourself, even if it's just, a hot bath, once a week, or, doing, something in nature on a regular basis. Making sure that you're nourishing your body with really wonderful foods and water. Things that have happened in maybe some of the healings that you've done in your journey, where you've had beautiful awarenesses or awakenings come forward. And some of them may have been tough to face, and yet there was still this amazing aha and gift that came through on the other side anyway. Just take a moment and really breathe into that. And you might even want to do a little bit of journaling around this. There can be a lot of momentum that you can gain from making sure that you're reflecting and really feeling that sense of gratitude and celebration for what you've been doing and how and where you're going. One of the things that's so powerful in keeping our progression moving and really building on the momentum that we already have in our journeys is taking those moments to recognize even those baby steps, because those baby steps are wins. And you combine those baby steps with consistency and persistence, and over time, the incredible amount of momentum that you gain, you'll be blown away. It's just amazing. So I invite you to share in the comments, some of what you've noticed in your own reflection and journey, and realizing that, gosh, this inner work is so incredibly valuable, and not just to us. And you may have heard this before, but it is so true. Every time we take those moments to really do the inner work and transform ourselves, that has incredible, beautiful ripple effects on the people around us and on a larger scale. If you think about things from a frequency level and, where energy is vibrating, when you're vibrating at a really high energy, that offsets magnitude of lower frequency energies that are going on. It's amazing. So just I'm honoring you in your work and your journey. And if you've gotten something out of this video, please share it with loved ones and friends. Send a like. And again, I'd love to hear your comments on what you've noticed in your own journey and how your inner work has been paying off for you, or what resonates in hearing my some of what I've shared today in my story. So I hope you have a wonderful week. Here is to your next level of breaking free and empowerment. Bye for now.